Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Thank you to those who are joining in consciousness. And hello to those of you who are listening to the recording. It's a real blessing to be here with you. Before I dive straight into our live stream today, shall we pause and be still for a few moments? Let's be still. Thank you. Hello to those of you who've joined. It's lovely to be here with you. Hello, Glorian. So the subject of today's live stream is profound, and it's based on Joel Goldsmith's book, The World is New. And I've chosen this book, this one here, this is a hard back copy, partly because it's the one we'll be studying in our London book study group in the autumn, and partly because it ties in very well with the monthly book study group I host with Glorian via Zoom on world work and what that is in the infinite way. Our book study group in West London will resume in October, and I'll also make the meetings available via Zoom for those of you who are unable to attend in person. So if you'd like more information about these meetings, you're very welcome to email me. My name is Heather, and my email address is mysticalmeditation@yahoo.com. And I've included my email address in the description. And the details for the Zoom links of our contemplations on world work with Glorian are also in the description. Now, Joel was very clear that the teachings of the infinite way weren't solely for the purpose of realizing our spiritual identity for our own personal advancement, but also importantly for lifting up world consciousness. So Glorian and I share extracts from the July 1959 letter that Joel sent out to his students, which clarifies exactly what world work is, the purpose of it, and how we can implement this in our daily lives. So, with this in mind, I'm going to focus today specifically on the 1962 Mission In close class that Joel Goldsmith gave. And the title of that class was The World is New to Every Soul When Christ Has Entered In. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Joel Goldsmith's teachings, he spent the latter part of his life traveling the world, sharing the spiritual wisdom that he'd come to learn. And this particular class in 1962 was a closed class, so it was attended by students who had been studying Joel's work for a while and were familiar with the principles that he was sharing. And this was a couple of years before he made his transition in 1964. So in this class, Joel is drawing our awareness to what he calls our silent partner. And I'd like to thank Bertus Rabi in Holland for sharing this with me recently for contemplation. If you'd like to listen to the whole class, it's available on joelgoldsmithstreaming.com. So let's take a look at what Joel said in that closed class. We'll take it step by step. I'll read a couple of quotes. We're not going to go through the whole class. And then I'll discuss what he's sharing. So we'll begin at the point where Joel is explaining that life is completely transformed when one consciously comes into the awareness of their inner light presence. And he says, I'm going to read you now a quote from this class. But in the instant when consciousness is opened for the entrance of this Spirit of God that makes one a child of God, something new is experienced. The world is new in this way. There is now a presence, invisible of course, but nevertheless real, that goes before us, not only to make the crooked places straight, but to prepare mansions for us. There is a presence with us that is a protective influence, a guiding influence, a maintaining and a sustaining influence. It is as if we had a silent partner, not only a silent partner, an invisible partner. The world may look at us and say, how have you done this? How have you accomplished this? Or, what is it that brings you this peace within and without? And to the world, you can't answer. Inwardly, you smile in the realization that, yes, it's true. Out there, you can't see it, but I have a silent and an invisible partner. It is a presence. Let's just stop there for a moment and contemplate this. Does anyone have any comments or questions at this point? Anything anyone would like to share? Okay, well, at this stage, Joel's referring to the conscious awareness of our inner self. The more we're communing with our invisible self, that which appears to be looking out through our eyes, where our head seems to be, the more we realize we can just rest there and watch as it appears as our experience. However, at this point on our spiritual path, there's still a belief in two-ness, a me that's aware of my invisible self, an intelligence that seems to be separate and more than me. So do you see the duality there? Okay, well then let's take a look at what he goes on to say a short while later in this closed class. He says, imbued with this Spirit of God, we have access to another realm. And here is really the deep mystery. We, in our humanhood, believe that what we see, hear, taste, touch and smell, or what we can think and reason, constitutes all of the world that there is. Well, of course, we only have to review the fantastic dreamer of the submarine, of the aeroplane, of space travel, to know really that while we were thinking of these as some kind of childish nonsense, there were men actually in contact with an invisible realm, receiving the secrets of how to travel beneath the sea and up in the air and out through space. And he went on to say, all of the great inventions, the telegraph, the cable, the telephone, all of these were brought into manifestation by individuals who were dreaming, not idly living their lives away in dreams, but were dreaming themselves into an invisible universe where there are laws that had not yet been discovered. And then he continued, when this Christ enters the consciousness of an individual, it immediately gives him access also to the realms where there are laws that have not heretofore been revealed to mankind as a whole. They have been revealed, the spiritual mysteries and the spiritual laws, to the mystics of all ages. So that's something for us to contemplate there. Hello to those of you who've joined. It's lovely to be here with you. Thank you for being here with me. Now, we've not really covered yet omniscience, the omniscience of God in these live streams. But it's precisely what Joel is opening our minds to here. The awareness that there is an intelligence that constitutes our being, which is beyond the parameters of human imagination. And as we put into practice this living from the awareness of our spiritual identity, seeing beyond the illusion of the senses, we realize that it is myself, my own self, and we can simply trust and rest, and that's the key, in and as the intelligence of the mind that created us, that created itself. I'll pause there for a moment for you to just digest what I've just shared. If anyone's watching the recording and they'd like to share a comment or simply say hello, please feel free to do so. It's lovely to connect with you. Okay, so in this book, The World is New, Joel concludes the book with this wonderful truth and reassurance, and I'm going to leave it with you now. He tells us that in order to experience this eternal harmony, there is this, and I'm going to read a short quote from chapter 15, so it's towards the end of the book. So he says, "But there is a price. And the price is to live in the consciousness of God, to acknowledge Him in all our ways, to recognize God as the source and foundation of our whole existence, to recognize God as the guiding light, the infinite wisdom and intelligence of our being, to trust God to bring forth divine harmony as our individual experience, and to pray without ceasing." Okay, so here you can see that there's a subtle shift away from two-ness to the conscious realization of oneness, and then living from that. Any final thoughts before we end with a short meditation? Hello to those of you who've just joined. We've been sharing thoughts and contemplations from The World is New book by Joel Goldsmith. Okay, well, you're all being very quiet today. If there are no more final thoughts, let's be still now then. And as we continue to leave this live stream, continue to rest in the awareness of our true identity, which, as Joel has just said in the quote that I read out, is to pray without ceasing. And you're very welcome to join us for short meditations every day on TikTok and on WhatsApp as we continue in this practice. And I've included both of those links in the description. So for now, I invite you to close your eyes with me and let's just be still. At the end of the meditation, I'll say thank you and then we'll leave in silence. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Okay, let's be still. Thank you. Thank you.